Glen Young, GPS Photography and Video, GPSPhotoandVideo.com. And joining me is All the Rage George Page, big supporter of women's bodybuilding. Thanks for joining me, George.
Well, thank you, sir.
So, you came all the way down here from Rolling.
Yeah, Rolling, North Carolina. Well, if you don't know where it is, it's a couple of miles from South Carolina.
Mm-hmm.
And, been living there since I can remember. I was born in Lumberton.
Okay.
So my family, I'm true story. I am a son of a sharecropper. That's the truth. Mm-hmm. My family, my mother and father worked sharecropping. And I'm one of the youngest out of 9 kids. My parents were together for 55 years. 25 of mom lived here and 30 of dad lived in New Jersey. So,
mm-hmm.
I just been a fan of female bodybuilding since I remember. My older brother used to play football,
right.
And he used to get the muscle bags. And they were like guys like Schwarzenegger, Henny, and Tom Plaza. You remember Tom Plaza? Mm-hmm. He was called, I think, the Golden Eagle, and he was the blueprint for He-Man. I was growing up in the '80s, and one of the most popular cartoons back then was He-Man. It's just, I remember the comedian saying how He-Man he switched from being a young white boy to a strong black man. It's crazy, but it was a great cartoon, and then the women was just something different. Mm-hmm. Especially I was like about, I would say, close to about 10, 12, and then just kind of just a different look to them, Mm-hmm. But then now since I did my content, I learned a lot more from the sport of bodybuilding.
Right. Well, I never knew that you were actually that close to me. I'm in Rayford, of course, and you were literally just down the street.
Yeah.
And it was funny to find that out.
Yeah. I have a sister. My sister and my nephew stay in Fayetteville. So I think sometimes me and my mom, she ain't like 95 that much. So we take the back way out every now and then because I think we've been through Rayford a few times.
Yeah. It was funny because we met basically through a mutual friend, Wachowski. That's the last.
I think Wachowski. We want to make sure. Sorry, Miss Marianne.
Marianne Wachowski.
Yeah.
I think that's right. But anyway, I'm sorry we did it wrong.
Yeah, we always probably.
But it was funny, and I was looking through the interview on YouTube. I said, well, dang, I was just talking with her, and I saw your YouTube content. You did an interview with her. Mm-hmm. That being said, that's a great segue into it. When we're talking women's bodybuilding, and you look at, I think she's 57 years old.
Yeah, she's 57.
She looks amazing.
There's a lot of women in that sport now. This is, there's Irene Anderson. She's like around 55, 56. There's a lady who I'm in contact with, Leah Denny. She's like about 51, 52. You guys, it's that lifestyle of bodybuilding,
right?
Where in which the fitness part of it, some women you surprised, like, just recently I did a video about Linda Murray for her birthday.
Right.
And Linda, I think she's 59 now. Mm-hmm. And you wouldn't look at her, you think she's that.
She looks beautiful.
She looks like, amazing. Wow. I wasn't too much a big Linda Murray fan back in the day.
Oh, really? Why?
I don't know. I just saw, I think what it was when she was winning so many Olympias.
Were you more of an Irish cow, right?
I was always Irish cow.
Mm-hmm.
Truthfully, I will tell you who was. Laura Crayval,
mm-hmm.
love her, amazing. Vicky Gates,
mm-hmm.
Rosemary Jennings. Oh my gosh, she was amazing. Heather Foster, mm-hmm. and Nancy Lewis, who I did an interview a while back, and she's a great lady. I came in contact with Nancy. She's amazing.
Coming up 24 July, they got the Masters show.
Mm-hmm.
And I think Marianne Wachowski is actually in that show. I'm going to drive up to Pittsburgh to check it out.
That's cool.
And it's amazing, to see all these women come on stage and look how they look. Now, of course, I'm going to go to all the other shows. I hope to try to make the Arnold's is coming up here in March. And then, of course, the Pittsburgh Pro, first week of May. And so, pretty exciting to see. What do you think coming out of COVID? What can we expect? Everybody it's no longer the COVID fog. No. Everything should be pretty much back to normal.
I think one concern is we still have the Omicron to deal with, but it's not as
mm-hmm.
bad as it was before. It's some states are dropping down the mask mandates inside. They're changing some rules. I would say still be cautious because I think one concern is that you can never ignore science.
Right.
But the fact is, some people, especially in that bodybuilding world, some are concerned about the whole thing because I'm vaccinated.
Mm-hmm.
I got myself vaccinated because I can never take a chance because this is one thing about me. I have a pacemaker and I have a heart condition. It's genetic, stuff like that, and I have to take care of myself. I don't want to take no chance with something. Like one thing, the flu can kill you.
Yeah.
And and I had pneumonia years ago. It was like was in my left lung, and that oh my God, it was like awful. And this COVID thing, because my mother, she had it, and it's been 2 years ago since she passed, and she was my world. I love my mom. The basic quote to say is, "No one bakes from Psycho. Boy's best friend is his mother." So and you have to be careful. I mean, maybe like I say, people gotta be smarter with this thing going around. We can never take a chance with anything.
Right. And it would seem that all the competitors that are coming from overseas, it'd still be hard for them to get to the shows. And I think that would be the only takeaway. But everybody else, in states, obviously shouldn't have any issues getting to the shows. Overseas, maybe not as bad, but still, it's that stigma hanging over.
I think there's some restrictions. I know some of these I follow. They did. I know Irene Anderson. She had to do 2 weeks in Turkey for quarantine before she got into the States. I know Virginia Sanchez, a lady also I follow, Barbara Majan. She's from France. Barbara's really cool. We keep contact on IG. She had to do her and another French lady, Anne Moon, had to do quarantine in Mexico also.
Right.
Back in the day, it used to be just hit a plane, boom, here, boom, go back.
Right.
But one thing I think will be good for some of the competitors, if they get sponsors.
Right.
And especially ones coming overseas, if they can house them for maybe about for a good while, so we can do the shows they want to do, and then when they go, they can go. And then also they can make contacts here, because there's a lot of contacts here. Everybody, this is like this. Remember Pretty Woman? And at the end, the guy said, "It's Hollywood. Everybody want to come here." It's the same with America. It's Hollywood. Everybody want to come here. And what I'm gonna do sometime, I'm gonna quote a lot of movies because I'm a big movie buff.
That's fine.
And that's what needs to. That's what needs to be done. And also we talk about sponsors.
Right.
Sponsors need to give these women the opportunity, because I know they're back male bodybuilders. There's some women I remember. Nancy back there, she has sponsors, and she better have to pay for anything. But some of the other, it's difficult. Especially you gotta travel, this, that, clothing, food, all the stuff that comes with
the whole cost to compete.
Yeah, because you mostly, like a gentleman who I'm friendly with, Mr. Big Keith Williams, who's the husband of T&S Williams, he mentioned how pretty much this is a struggle for these ladies. You're working mostly in the red. If you look at men's bodybuilding, if you go to a show, the guys would get maybe $30,000 to $40,000. While the women, most they can make is maybe $4,000. They already spend most of their money and that's why they got to do a lot of the video photo sessions after the shows, because when they do those, because the fact is, that's when they're most ripped and shredded. And the guys who are fan of the bodybuilders, they like to watch them. I know one lady who put me on this was Alicia Flario. Hello, Alicia, how you doing? And she's really cool, great lady, and she put me on about this information. I learned a lot when these interviews where I have these ladies and when I'm in contact with them.
It's great. I tell you what, all the rage, George Page with me, and we're talking everything women's bodybuilding. We're gonna take a quick break. When we come back, I want to ask you, what's your favorite division? Young alongside all the rage, George Page.
Oh, wait a minute. All the way George Page, aka the Emperor of Female Bodybuilding Talk, aka the Perfect Sage, aka the Joker.
You got them all? Anything?
Yeah, that's it.
Favorite women's bodybuilding division?
Bodybuilding, off the gate. No, I mean, like I said.
So female bodybuilders?
Yes, female bodybuilders. Okay. I'm starting to get into physique. I mean, because to me, it was kind of watered down women's bodybuilding. It was like less the muscle, and and not as many women. Because I'm starting to like some of my interviews I've done with are women in the sport of physique. I just did an interview about a couple weeks ago with a lady by the name of Shamika Cash. She's a great lady. Also did one with a lady who's still in the amateurs, Miss Amanda Snooks. And the division is kind of growing on me. But I've always been a fan of women's bodybuilding. Like I said, like I told you earlier, I'm a fan of Laura Craveval, Vicky Gates, Heather Foster, Nancy Lewis, a lovely lady I did an interview with, Rosemary Jennings, who I've always been a fan of. I'm also a fan of women who are currently now, like Jada Beverly, Tina Williams, who, those ladies have been on my show. Andrea Shaw, she's just, she's like, wow. Yeah. I was in contact a while back with Helen Trevino, and you know, she had shoulder surgery a while back, and I sent her a get well video and sent her, you know, and she really appreciated that, and you know, and it's great when, you know, some of these ladies, when you do content for them, and they tell you that thank you, because you know what, it gives recognition. Also, what I do is this morning I just did a video I call, it's a comparison video where I do. It was based, I got the idea from this guy named Mark Mass Muscle. He's on YouTube, and he mostly do most of the men. Every so often he does a women's only Wednesday. But I was watching stuff, I said, you know what, no one really does anything for the women. Because if you look on YouTube, when you got social media platform, there's 29 million sites dedicated to men, but only so few. Like there's myself, there's a female bodybuilding channel, AJ and JB over there. There's also DD on the spot, and I think might be a couple others.
A female bodybuilding channel out of Germany.
Yeah. Actually, JB lives in Germany, and I think AJ lives in Norway. Is it Norway, I believe? You know, like that. Yeah. But yeah, and JB been in the game for a long time. Then you know, he has JB Films. And yeah, and there's so few dedicated to women. Now, as you know, as I call them, the banana hammocks, they get a lot more attention compared to the men, to the women. But the women, you know, you gotta respect it. They just work just hard as the men. They train and they have to diet and they have the this and that and this.
It's not getting the compensation.
No, not the compensation. You know, like if you know, when you think about it, if you saw at the Olympia, Big Ronnie won the Mr. Olympia again. He walks away with $450 million.
Right. While
Andrew Shaw takes 50 almost $500,000. That's Big Ronnie again. $500,000. 450,000 is $500,000, nearly $500,000. While Andrea walks away with 50. I mean, like, come on. I understand that.
What do you think the fix for that is?
We all know is that
last year, and when you look at it, it's not just women's bodybuilding, that's the way of the world, because women aren't paid as much as men and do twice as much work.
Yeah.
But what's the fix?
When
you talk about competitive bodybuilding.
One thing is compensation is fair. I mean, you're not gonna pay the women the same more as you're gonna pay. You're not gonna pay Andrew the same as Big Ramy. But
why not?
Well, you know, the fact is the promoters will go more behind the men. That's the truth of it. I know.
So is that a thing? We need more female promoters.
We should, but you know, most women may not be able to win by as much.
Right.
And also sponsors. You know, the sponsors they put their money behind the men more than they do the women. That's the thing. You can't, you know, most of these sponsors are old companies. They have their ideology.
Right.
You know, remember Joe Weider was a big fan of women bodybuilding, but he supported it. You know, but you know, fact is that, you know, I think after Weider's died, especially Joe, then Joe, pretty much female bodybuilding was like, it's like Walmart. Remember Walmart was back then? You can go to Walmart, you can go with $50, hey, you can fill the cart. When Sam died, you know, his sons took over, you know, got a lot more expensive.
Right.
Now, you go to Walmart now, with $50, you can fill the thing you put the baby in now. You can't fill that. You know, it's just that, you know, women are not going to get as much as the men. That's the truth of it. But what should be happening is should get at least enough where it's worth their while, worth their time. You know, I would say Andrew should at least get at least $100,000 to $200,000, and then the first runner-up should get at least maybe 100, something like that, and then you go on down, go down. So where.
But even said that, you still not gonna give her $500,000.
Well, she should get $500,000.
All right,
she should.
But you said she should only get 100. You know.
Well, I say at least maybe $250,000, like, you know, like $250,000. That'd be good, and they would love that because that's still some money. Because think about it, they would like.
I think she loved $500,000.
She loved $500,000 also, but we all know these sponsors and, you know, and the promoters, they usually, you know, they're the ones who cut the checks. Yeah. And
so getting back to when you talk about, in my answer to the favorite category in women's bodybuilding, I have something good that I love about each division, and then I'll tell you my favorite. So you start out with Bikini, right? Obviously, Bikini is, you know, they are the eye candy of the NPC and IFBB. Is that bikini back shot? You know, can't beat it. Same with wellness.
Wellness, I think I'm kind of getting into wellness.
That's a whole new world. Like, wow. Yeah, and obviously much thicker than bikini.
Yeah, because where wellness came from was from Brazil. Because that's where it was very popular at. And then you started bringing here like last year. Started to do a few shows, and then it just got to the Olympia last year. You know, the year before last we started bringing in, but then you just got to Olympia last year.
So then when you look at figure, it's all in the name. Sid Gillian. I mean, you know, so I love the figure and the stack that, you know, it's, I know all in the name is just the basis of this is what the female body should be epitomized. That they're like, okay, that's not too big, that's not too small, I like figure.
It's like
bikini, everybody wants to be bikini, that's good. When it comes to fitness, Ariel Kadir, that's my favorite. And with fitness, you should have to pay twice. Once for the show, that posing routine, and then once for their actual pose down. But they put on a routine, and when you look at Ariel Kadir's show, I call it a show because that's what it is. Oksana Grishina, Whitney Jones. Have you ever seen the fitness, been to a competition and seen the fitness routines? It's amazing. And so that's what I love about them. So then when you get to that, what we got left? We got women's physique. Women's physique, I mean, the takeaway from women's physique, and you have to be in the first or the second row. And when they say abdominals and thighs, and they stick that leg, everyone leans forward in their chair, and the photographers just wait. And when they do that patented, I call it the women's physique hiss, and they just exhale, and you hear it, and the action, boom, 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 boom. When you hear that, that's when you them shutters go off. Click, 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 click,
like flashing light.
Because that's it. They are almost at muscle failure, and when they hit that, and then they twist that hip from left to right, can't beat it. So, women's physique really is like my favorite. But then obviously female bodybuilding, the whole premise when they hit that double arm bi. Because in women's bodybuilding you got it all. You got the quads, right? You got the abs. You got the back. And when they hit that double bi, that's it. And there's probably, obviously that's the most misunderstood division. The one that everybody's like, I wouldn't want to be like, that's the most feared division from the normal population of people that see them.
Everybody's not comfortable with it because the fact is, it's the idea that women are having this much level of muscle. Especially, and I know some ladies who I talk to about, they feel like people have an issue with it. Now, sometimes they have people that are like astonished by it because the fact is, they're curious, especially women and children. Men can be kind of petty, especially, especially in the gym, and this guy's talking about how, you're trying to be a man, but hey, you don't got the muscle, so why are you trying to be a woman? And I think one pose that people don't think about, especially in women's figure, a pose that has been outlawed is the crab pose. Is when they, they do that like, baby.
Most muscular,
most muscular. Guys love that pose because they go nuts over it.
But you don't think it's good in women?
I love it. It's my favorite pose. It's really, you show the details of the traps, the shoulders, your chest, you see the biceps, everything just squishes just one shot. And just, they outlawed it for some shows for quite some time. Some women do it like when you're free posting. But, it's just great.
But to me, women's bodybuilding, you get it all. And the thing, who wins a pose down? Women's physique, women's bodybuilding. They come down and everybody, all right, pose down. You got female bodybuilding, women's physique. Who wins?
Well, I'm one lady I talk about the two different divisions.
No, but I mean, this is just straight pose down. Pose for pose. They come down there and how they do the pose. They all right, they do the pose down. Women's physique versus female bodybuilding.
I'm going to prejudice. I'm going to say women's bodybuilding.
Really?
Yeah, I'm going to say women's bodybuilding.
I don't know.
I know guys.
I would love to see it. I know I would love to see it.
It'd be great if you see something like Sarah Vilgus and Jimmy Grant and Andrew Shaw and Marjorie Martin and the rest of them all do like a crossover thing. That would be great. Somebody do like kind of a. Remember back in the day, some of these do these guest pose shows. And it'd be great if you have some physique competitors and figure competitors, and some fitness competitors come together, women's bodybuilding, and do like a little.
So you're saying women's bodybuilding?
Yeah.
All right. So you got figure and fitness pose down. Aside from the routine, because fitness wins hands down with the routine. But when they come to the pose,
figure, no question.
All right,
no question, because it's like that. Even though the poses are different, because I think you only have 4 mandatory poses. That's the quarter turns, but their level of muscle is more that close to women's bodybuilding because you got the fitness was started as a replacement, as a substitute for women's bodybuilding. There's some ladies who I follow like. The late Laura Bass, I think Sharon Renault, they after a while they left and went to started doing fitness as an alternative. And it used to be more. I knew some days there was more. There was like you had the one piece, you had at least like short routine, long routine. Then you had a 2-piece. But they cut it down to just, I think, short routine and just you have the 1 piece now. And you know, figure is the offspring of fitness. They cut out all the routine stuff, cut out all the chicken sweat, and just be wearing swimming muscle and clean heels. It goes back to how bodybuilding started. Bodybuilding started out as like bikini. That's how. If people know the history of bodybuilding, it started off in the '70s like bikini, and then the women got bigger. People like Carla Dunlap. Georgia Fudge, Richard McLeish. There's those women started on that division. Then the muscle level started changing. They, got a little harder, and still they have a level of femininity, the guys like. And then you had the next generation coming up, like Corey Everson, Bev Francis, Sandra Riddell, Laura Craval, and then each generation keeps changing. Then you had Linda come, and then you had Kim Zavetsky, Vicky Gates, Yolanda Hughes. Each generation kept changing. It's like my friend Jared, this guy named Jared, we do our Muscle Talk Mondays, and we did a thing, we talk about how it's about human progression, and that's what all it is. The sport is evolving. You go from those women, then you go up to, Angela Bichette, you go to, Juliet Bergman came back in 2000s, then Linda came back, then you had Iris, you had Danielle Keene, you see Alpine, then you had then Lena came, and you had Monique Jones, Kim Buck, those women came, and it's just human progression, progression. And now you have Marjorie Martin, you got Helen Trevino, you got Andrea Shaw, you have one lady who's just beyond muscle, Natalia Kostanova. Everybody called her
Russian.
Yeah, the Russian. Those Russian women. There's another lady who I follow. Her name is Anastasia Kovalova. She's from Russia. Then you have another Anastasia Levanova. And then you have there's another Natalia, but she's not as big.
Marana, the women's physique. Can't think of her name.
Yeah, she's but it's human progression.
All right, and like I said, everything I said is from a fan perspective. It's like fantasy football, which is fantasy female bodybuilding on these posts now. So when I come down to it, and they say bikini and wellness, right? It's close, right? It's close. And they say 180 and face the wall. Who you got?
I'm going wellness. I'm sorry. Like folks, like this is what someone tell you something. One of my jobs back in the day, I used to have a couple of jobs. I used to work in textiles. I used to work at
What was the last show you were at?
I never been to a show.
What? Oh, you can't even talk about earlier.
Hey, let me tell you this. Hold that. Okay. First off,
how can you even compare?
I used to work a lot. I used to hold
TV
2 jobs. Yes, I know I watch TV, but I used to work a lot. I had 2 jobs. I used to work in textile. I used to work at a gas station. One job I used to work at a strip club. I didn't have a lot of time. I always did a lot of traveling. I'm a homebody. I did a lot of traveling. I used to watch most of my bodybuilding on TV or on the internet. I'm planning on going to a show this year because I always want to go see one in person. Back then, there wasn't many shows in North Carolina. It used to be, remember back then you had Jantana. That was in Charlotte or in Virginia. But, there's only so few shows. But, because, with me,
Like I say, like in women's physique, right? And I'd be remiss if I didn't say this. Teresa Mott, who was here, is one of my favorites. And then, of course, Sharonica Hinton, who I was able to spend maybe almost 3 years with. And I saw, when I started going to shows, I was at the Arnold's with Sharonica. That's where I saw Ariel Kadir. This was in 2017. And then we went to the Charlotte Europa. And I was asking Sharonica, what is that hiss? She told me all about that hiss. A lot of the things I understand about women's bodybuilding came from Sharonica. So I know, and I spent all that time with her, so I'm blessed to know her. And when I would see her on stage, I didn't, and she would hit that abdominals and thighs, and she hit that hiss. And like I said, the Charlotte Europa, boom. And look at the show in Orlando. I was in Orlando in December, and I was able to photograph this girl, Carolina, the Amazon, Carolina Garcia. She got a pro card in wellness. And when she walked out there, everybody's like, oh, this was in the pre-judging. And then, of course, one of my favorite bikinis, but there's no secret, is Sarah Kwambar and Nikki Politi. You know, and I've seen, when I saw Sarah on stage in Orlando, it's like, it's amazing. Until you see it, you know, these are women that I photographed. And then when you see them on stage, it's like, wow, you know, you really are impressed. But, you know, doing a shoot, you know, I'm photographed on, I'm concentrating on, you know, exposure, lighting, poses, and then you really don't appreciate the pictures or the photos until after. And it's the same with the show. When I see them at the show, I'm like, man. And it's okay to be a fan and a photographer, but I mean, yeah, I'm a true fan. And when I see that, I'm like, man,
you don't want
amazing.
You don't want to act like your first time at Disney World. Wow, I see Mickey.
Yeah, I mean, it's really something. You got to go to the show.
That's what I'm
I
planning.
mean, that doesn't do you justice.
I always wanted to go, but most of the time I was working live.
Save up, get the VIP.
I'm already saving.
So you can be on the second row.
I'm already saving because, like I said, I live on a little bit of money so often.
Yeah, oh yeah, we are.
It's just.
But I make the sacrifice I have to make it, you know.
Yeah.
So when we come back, I guess we'll reverse roles and I'll let you ask me everything in reference to the GPS photography and video publication, the Amazons. It's a medical magazine that's coming out, the first issue 1 May, dedicated to women's bodybuilding. So